Good evening. My name is Brightops, and welcome back to Mordheim, City of the Damned. Now, for those of you who are rejoining us from last week, we've witnessed some rises, we've witnessed some falls, though no one's quite fallen so far as Scythe, who is currently missing an arm and a leg. If he can lose an eye, I'll actually get an achievement for it. And we've also got the introduction of our new impressive, the ogre known as the Alcoholic. I am going to have to talk to the person behind the name to see what sort of color scheme they would prefer, but here we go. We also have been waiting for the opportunity to get a couple of our people back, which I have been looking forward to. So, let's get going, shall we?
New hired swords are available.
Let's see. Cyclone's back, which is good. He can lead the warband again. Grey Vested is back. Michael is back, and Valentine McKinn is back. We also have 5 warriors who are still receiving treatment, which isn't great, but whatever. Let's see, Conrad can be replaced by Grey Vested for the time being, since Conrad's still recovering from his own injuries. And we'll give Valentine a chance to shine. Though, how much cash do we have? Let's see, what was I going to do with... Sorry, I'm just trying to... I was gonna do something with Miss Lana, but I can't quite remember what it was. Ah, yes. Yes, now I remember. Entrenched, that was what I was going to teach you. Effectively, what this does is... it's a stance that they can take, where she'll get an overwatch shot, but she'll also get a dodge attempt as well. So... yes, we shall train her to learn how to entrench herself a bit. We'll also take the time to earn ourselves a bit more gold. Actually, wait, we already have a payment coming in. So, might just hold on to this. That would be a bit too soon. Though I might see if there's anything we can sell off to help. I hate to let go of a rare item like this, but since Scythe can't use two-handed weapons anymore, there's really kind of no point. But this will give us a chance to bring Michael with us as well, while Miss Lan is away for a few turns to get stronger. But anyway, let us see what the campaign map has to offer. See, I would jump into the story mission, but I do want to give our ogre a chance to level up a bit, develop skills and all that, as well as let Miss Lana learn entrenched and come back, since she is a rather important member of this team. So, after this video, there will be 2 more before we tackle the story mission. That is a promise I will make to you now, which will give our people some time in order to level up, get their skills together, and we will see about...
Believing yourself alone in what was a residential district, you spread your warband to ransack the nearby houses. Just as your warriors are starting to explore the buildings, however, an enemy warband arrives, ready to attack your dispersed forces.
But yes, after this mission we will have 2 more to allow people to train, level up, get some... purchase training and stuff like that. Okay, now this is a weird stone rush. And we are... I think this is the Sisters of Sigma. It's either that or witch hunters, it's hard to tell though. And the word stones all clustered together there. Now, the Altaholic is unable to interact with certain things. This is just a matter of fact. And sadly there's not a whole lot we can do about it, but... there's not a whole lot we can do about it, but he can't pick up things, but he can help us secure them. So he will be able to help us very much secure all that stone and keep it out of whomever it is we are actually fighting at the moment. Because there is a fair profit over there. Because I'm seeing at least 3 clusters and a bunch of shards. Though, to be fair, I plan to take as much of it as possible. It is also somewhat important that we keep Cyclone somewhat close to Michael, because Michael is not the smartest of boys anymore. Yep, failed his first check. Ah yes, and I believe I mentioned to one of my followers, who was talking to me about my Mordheim series recently, because he was asking some questions about the ogres, and I said to them that I would explain a bit in the next video. But ogres are pretty much everywhere in the Warhammer Fantasy universe, mostly as mercenaries. Because, alright, to start off with, to start explaining where the ogres have come from, they originally hailed from the best way to put it would be the Warhammer Fantasy version of Mongolia. And they originally came from there. And for a long time they were just pretty much very tribal, very primitive, because they simply lacked knowledge. So as you can see, they're fairly bigger than normal humans, but they are almost well, actually all of them in fact, are possessed of a near endless hunger. To the point where for thousands of years, their society consisted of following around the giant animals that called their lands home, and eating them whole. Raw and everything. It wasn't until they found Cathari, which is Warhammer China, that they were introduced to things such as fire, and the idea of, cooking food and all that. They were also introduced to the idea of eating intelligent life, which they did with quite a bit of gusto, since ogres have a very interesting view when it comes to eating intelligent life and, well, each other. They don't seem to have, because of their near endless hunger, they don't have a problem with it. Well, it depends by and large on just if you're the ogre who's on the menu, but not the actual practice itself.
A new round has started.
See, but yes, what happened? They used to have a proper kingdom.
Objectives
until
updated.
they started the invasions of basically Warhammer China. At which point, the emperor of the time,
Objectives updated.
from what I will admit, Carthy doesn't have a whole lot of information on it. It was one of those places in the Warhammer Fantasy world where, yeah, they did do a bit of lore, but they didn't really do a whole lot. But apparently, the Emperor, who is some sort of immortal dragon god, from what sources I was able to find, basically you went to his court of magicians and magic users, and reached up into the heavens to bring something down onto the ogres, into the heart of their homeland, in order to basically stop them from invading his lands and eating everyone. And this thing smacked. This thing just, whatever happened, came down. It wrecked. It absolutely wrecked the ogre's homeland. It killed most of them, with the survivors basically just destroying themselves for a great deal of time. Since tribes would interfight and they would start eating each other, the strong eating the weak. It wasn't until much later on that because ogres devolved into tribes in order to, because their homeland simply couldn't sustain them anymore, because it was a massive, it was basically a unbelievably massive crater that lacked even the basis of life. They developed into tribes and spread and traveled west, because that was really the only direction they could go anymore. And they ended up settling down in a place called the Mountains of Morn, which was basically, because of its positioning, it was, well, it was kind of like a natural battleground between, well, quite a few factions. Because, from what I can find, the Mountains of Morn, before the ogres showed up, was a natural battleground between the dwarves, the Force, and the various factions of Chaos. And, including beastmen and the actual warriors and demons that came from the northern, from up north, which is where it borders the Chaos Wastes. It's also, because of its a mountain range, it was also home to things such as the Skaven, who tended to live underground, as well as I mentioned, the dwarves. Oh, Michael did not have a fun time. But there was the dwarves. And actually, and quite honestly, the wildlife of the Mountain of Morn is, in and of itself, something to be afraid of. Because, as has been, well, not in. I admit I haven't said it myself yet, but, well, the animals that live in the Mountain of Morn, the wildlife there, for any other faction, it would be like the kind of threat that you would call in the elites for. For the ogres, they are at best, meals or pets. Or possibly, sometimes even the biggest, most dangerous will generally be used as mounts. But yes, after they moved to the Mountains of Morn, they started to actually develop into a proper tribal society. In the way that in the ogre tyrants, who were basically quote-unquote tribe leaders, were able to more or less not be killed in their sleep anymore. I mean, it still happened, but not to the same extent. There was at least some stability to the whole place. They're very much an in the now kind of species, ogres. They don't really care about politics or things that or history that happened outside of their current lifetime. So very few of the ogre tribes are in existence have survived multiple generations.
Objectives updated.
There are a few. There are a few tribes of ogre tribes that their names just actually carries on through even after
Objectives
the occasional
updated.
leader has died, but not many. But yes. About their original homeland, and to an extent their hunger. When one of the tribes of ogres went back to what was once their homeland, they found a place that was hostile to the point where even ogres have difficulty surviving. And when they actually managed to find the crater of the thing that destroyed the heart of their what was once their kingdom, they found a hole that is bigger than size would imagine. That was lined with muscle and teeth. They would call this the Great Maw, and they worship it as a god. They consider it to be the source of their vicious hunger. And it's not strange that it's basically expected that at least once in an ogre's lifetime, they will make the pilgrimage to see the Great Maw itself. I mean, it's not uncommon for them to, when they arrive there, to be so overcome with just the unending hunger that this thing causes them, that they will throw themselves into the maw itself in order to try and abate it.
Objectives updated.
I think I see the problem here. This woman here is the Sisters of Sigmar's Impressive, which is why she is such a pain to try and
Objectives
actually
updated.
do damage to. Especially since they've decided to give her some heavy armor. So she's actually fairly resistant to damage. Actually, hang on.
Objectives updated.
So we're gonna have to get the Ultaholic in there to start whacking her around a bit. But yes, how ogres wound up everywhere in the world? Well, because of their obsession with food, their somewhat ancestral fear of what happened to their kingdom originally, because thing coming from the sky and killing them all, is even if they don't really put a whole lot of emphasis on their history, they still somewhat remember that that's a thing. They are somewhat nomadic. They're a very nomadic people. And to to a fair degree, they will go out into the world to look for fresh sources of food. Or find people who have goods that they deem worth working for, be it food or because they're putting them against enemies who are good eating. Because even after all this time, they are still totally on board with eating each other and their enemies. Okay, let's try and gather some more of the stone up.
Objectives updated.
Because I would like to get the secondary objective. It would make life a bit easier for everyone.
Objectives updated.
But, yeah, ogre biology is actually somewhat interesting.
Objectives updated.
In the fact that their stomachs. Ogres consider their stomachs to be
Objectives updated.
sacred. It's basically the most holy part of their body. And thus it's incredibly important to protect it to them.
Objectives updated.
Just spiritually, of course. The idea of being disemboweled is something that absolutely terrifies them to a heavy degree. And there's honestly some good reason behind that. Because that comes with their biology. See, the ogre's stomach isn't actually is actually almost entirely made of muscle. They're literally designed to. Their stomach is literally designed to be able to consume pretty much anything, including things like stone. They can literally just digest just about anything. This has its downsides, however, in that if in the event that they are actually disemboweled, it's nearly impossible for them to actually recover from that. There's no way of treating that. They will die a slow and horrific death if it happens. So, what ogres will fairly do, as we can see from the altar holoc here, is they will wear a gut plate. And gut plates are fairly important to ogre culture, since it's basically what you're using to protect the most important parts of you, as far as ogres are concerned. It's also used as something of a symbol, since, well, obviously having a richer and more decorated gut plates is a prestige thing, but in this particular case that I'm referring to, ogres will settle disputes in a combat arena. They will settle disputes with each other in gladiatorial combat. And part of the arrangement will be that the winner gets to eat a part of the loser. Usually it'll come off as an appendage like a nose or possibly even an entire limb. However, in the event that the ogres remove their gut plates, it's a sign to them and basically everyone watching that this is a fight to the death, and the winner will eat the loser. Which, yes, it sounds grim and absolutely. Many would consider this absolutely vile, but it's just them. They literally cannot. They have an endless hunger that just, no matter how much they eat, no matter what they eat, they can never really feel satisfied. It's honestly kind of sad. But as for why they are everywhere in the world, as I said, they were nomadic. But they are by and large mercenaries. They will work for anyone. Such as the fact that we've got one here. It isn't strange for ogres to work in the Empire and with Imperials. It's also not strange for them to actually, you know, just occupy Empire towns and eat them. And eat everyone there. Though it can be said, ogres will... It will be said they will... How they dress and how they present themselves will tell a lot about where they live and who they work for. Because an Empire ogre, one who works in the Empire, will dress in lavish, and they will try and save up enough money to dress in lavish clothing. Almost like an imperial noble, though sized up to their massive bulk.
A new round has started.
Whereas an ogre that works for a vampire or the vampire counts, might take some stones to make and stick them in their mouth as a pair of makeshift fangs in order to look more vampire-ish. You even have them going so far as to work for, say, things such as the Dark Elves, who honestly respect the ogres a great deal, since Dark Elves are notorious for being, Dark Elves. They are sadistic motherfuckers. Let's get real. But they will respect the ogres for their natural bloodlust and ferocity, and they respect them enough to actually hire them to work with them rather than enslave them, which is kind of a big deal. And that is our victory this time around. And we've got the secondary, which is great.
When the Baron hears how you decimated the enemy, he will be as pleased as a halfling in a pie shop. He may even send a bit of gold by way of gratitude.
Alright, let's see what the cost of this battle's gonna be. Okay, you're up. A deep wound, he'll be fine, though he'll take some time to be fine. He just came back to us, but he's out again! And Michael has gained a light wound because of that crit, but at least
Remarkable.
He'll be back soon enough, and he leveled up, which is alright.
Nice progress.
Another level up. Didn't quite. Let's see. Valentine Confusion again. They are not very alert at this point in time. I'm gonna have to try and throw some points in there just to try and
fantastic.
Make sure. Because I don't know what happens if you end up with 0 in a category, but I feel like that would be a bad thing. And the Alcoholic got a fairly good starting bit of experience. Nice. See a bit of gold, that'll help. Some items that we can sell also will be helpful. Let's see, paying for costs and paying people's paychecks. Okay. So let's see who... Well, on the plus side, we will be getting Sinister 7 back next turn, which will allow us to fill in one of the injured hero slots. So yay. But I believe that will be it for now. My name is Brightops, and I look forward to hearing from you.